Well, welcome back for our second video on creating your recorded lecture. This is actually a worksheet or a planning document that I created for you, and we're going to walk through some of the areas and actually have you fill it out during this video. So before we get started on how this tool works, I want you to hit pause on your recorder and go out to the online class and print this off and grab yourself something to write with, because we're going to walk through all these areas, and hopefully by the end of the video you'll have a pretty good start to your first recorded lecture. So again, go ahead and hit pause, head out online and print this off. All right, welcome back. I hope you have your worksheet and something to write with, because we're going to walk through this. So the first area of the recorded lecture worksheet is the lesson or the purpose. Some folks just like a lesson title here. I really like to write one or two sentences that are going to describe the purpose of the video. It really allows me to narrow down my focus as I move throughout this worksheet. So this is an example online. I have a template online for you as well. Hopefully that's the one you printed. But for my video, there's actually three. So it's a video series for the flipped classroom. The first one is going to focus on what instructors can learn from our broadcast friends. We've already walked through that one. The second one is the one you're watching right now, which will introduce you to this planning document or the planning tool. And the second one will introduce you to what TV folks like to call like a news rundown. So a rundown of your video series. So again, right now I want you to put down either at least a lesson title for your flipped video and maybe one or two sentences to describe the video that you're going to produce. The next thing you want to spend some time on is the learning objectives for the video, and really concentrate on a small, narrow focus. If you're deciding to do a video series, you might have more learning objectives, and again, those will be aligned with shorter videos. So ideally, you're looking at what will my students be able to learn or demonstrate when they're done watching my videos. So in my case, there's 7 here. I've decided to break this up into 3 video pieces, and we'll take a closer look at how that's divided and aligned a little bit later in our planning document. So spend a little bit of time writing down your learning objectives, and again, think narrow focus. The next thing you need to think about is your audience knowledge. What do they already know about this topic? What are their resources for this topic? So in our case, you all have a basic understanding of flipped classroom. You have used Camtasia to some extent and have some basic understanding on how video production or editing works in Camtasia. You teach in kindergarten through 12th grade classes or courses. You probably have several years of teaching experience. I did put down that you might have a limited budget for software depending on the school district, or whether that's bought out of your own pocket. And there is some support within your district for technology and creating course content. So again, knowing what your audience already knows allows you to sort of not put that in the video and move into really a deep focus of your video. Up next, I want you to create a little bit of an outline. So again, on that template, we're just kind of putting things down on paper and pencil, and we'll move it into an electronic version here in just a bit. But look at an outline. So list the video topics. Will this be one long video, hopefully under 15 minutes, or will there be shorter videos to help support the knowledge? Think about bite-sized pieces is really what works best. How long each one of those videos will be, and also what learning objective aligns with that particular video. In my case, I've created 3 shorter videos. One is the recorded lecture, which was the first video that you watched. No more than 7 minutes. I was a little long, about 10 or 11, and you can see the objectives that it aligns with on that far right-hand column. The next one is how to use this worksheet, actually. I'm thinking it'll be about 5 minutes. The last video will be how to use the rundown worksheet, and that hopefully will be no more than 5 minutes. So again, you're just roughly outlining the topic, the length, and what learning objectives align for it. How can I break this down into bite-sized pieces for my students? Deadlines, any due dates? Mine's due today, so I'm finishing that up. Tasks, resources, and handouts is what outside resources might you bring in for your flipped classroom video. What scripts might you need, images, graphics, things like that, videos that are already created that you might import into Camtasia. What handouts might you do or create for your students? So this is just sort of that task list that you need to take care of. And you can see there's several things that I was working on as I was working on these videos as well. The last two areas are probably the key, and that's that assessment piece. How will I know if my students watched my video? Again, that's a big concern for a lot of instructors, that are they watching it? Is it making sense? And so you absolutely need to align or tie some sort of assessment piece with your video. It could be they have to watch a video and take a quiz, then come to class. Maybe it's a handout where they have to watch the video and in class they fill out the handout to prove that they watched that video. I like to do study guides with some of my videos, or some people call them gap notes, where you actually put down some questions that guide them through the video, so as they're watching, they're writing it down. So I want you to take a few minutes right now, just jot down a few things that might demonstrate that your students watched your video. I kind of like to call this the proof they did the work. In our case, there's going to be probably some discussion boards online for this project, Dropbox, or you'll come with your worksheets completed. And obviously the number one assessment that we know you watched our videos is that you actually recorded your own short lecture that we'll be critiquing. So again, just real quickly, jot down how might you assess that they watched the videos. The last piece is, well, they watched the video. Now what are we going to do when we become face-to-face? So what do those activities look like? What are we going to do in class? In our particular case, we're going to be talking about how to critique a recorded lecture. We'll actually view a lecture by a history professor at Winona State, and we'll critique his work. He's been ever so gracious to give that to us. Then we're going to break you into small groups of 2 or 3 and actually review the recorded lecture that you did and provide feedback and insight for improvements. And then we'll get together as a big group and do our key takeaways. So what did we learn from this process? So again, real quickly, this is the planning document that can help you create your recorded lecture. It just brings things down, puts it on paper, and gives you a little bit of focus. Up next, we're going to work on what we like to call a recorded lecture rundown sheet. So you can stop the video now, fill this form out, and then when you're done, watch the final video, the third video for our series.